got one of these, you'll need a green outline because I'm going to refer to it. If you haven't got it, you can wander over there and you can grab one. If you haven't got it now, if you've got it now, please open it up. That will be really important as we go forward this morning. Well, we come to what I would say one of the most important passages in the story of Daniel. It's more significance in these two verses in this chapter than I dare say in the rest of the entire book. And I will say this also, in all of the Old Testament, there are no more two important verses than we see in Daniel 7. I know it's a big call. You see if you agree with me by the end of when I'm speaking, if you think that is true or not. What we see today in Daniel 7 is a change, because Daniel 1 to 6 has been the stories, whether it's the eating the fine food, or whether it's the story of the statue in the fiery furnace, or whether it's got to do with being thrown into lions' dens or whatever. Those are now gone, and they're replaced now by dreams and visions and crazy images and so on. And I was going to pray for clarity, but because Tim's prayed for clarity and that we might understand it, I'll just simply say, you need to concentrate today. You need to concentrate today. And having said all that, would someone bring me my clicker, because I've left the clicker at the back. Dates. Let me talk about dates. Dates are important. And as you know, some dates, thank you very much, are more important than other dates. That's the wrong clicker. No, there's another clicker. This is not the... Somewhere there's another clicker. In that, yes, in that pouch. Now, as you can see, 11th of September. Does anybody know 11th of September 2001 is? I'm starting with a very obvious, very easy one. Anybody tell me what that date is? Anybody? Sorry? 9/11, the Twin Towers coming down. We all know that, don't we? Yes. Okay, what about this one? 31st of December 1999. What's that? It's the end not just of a year or a decade or a century, but the millennium. And what went with that? Anybody know? There's one thing that went with that. Oh yes, she's on fire, this girl. Y2K. You may not know if you're too young, but I think most people can remember 2000. Yes. What about this one? 25th of April 2015. Just a little few years ago. Anybody? Anybody? 100 years of World War I. Remember at the beginning? A day before your birthday. Well, that's a good day too. What about this one? Anybody know that? Oh, I don't even have to tell you, do I? It's the birth of our Saviour. All right, what about this one? 19th of March 1932. Sorry? No, it's past the Depression, started 29. Anybody? Anybody? The opening of the Harbour Bridge. A bit more close to us. 25th of September 1966. Anybody? Currency. The currency? That's the year of the currency? No, that's 14th of February 1966. Remember? My birthday, that's it. Well done. And I've given you that's because you've got you've got a couple of months to save up for my present. Only joking, only joking, only joking. What about this one? 587 BC, going way back 2,500 years ago. That's the exile. That's when Jerusalem was ransacked, burned to the ground, and all the people taken to Babylon. A couple of years before that, 602, last one. Anyone? Sorry? Yes, well done. And who preached on Daniel chapter 2? Who did? All right, it was King Nebuchadnezzar actually came to the throne, and he went from being a military general and came to the throne important than others. As we come to chapter 7, we need to realize that chapter 7 does not follow chapter 6 in the timeline. You need your green outline now. I want you to turn to the very back page, and I want you to see how this is all worked together. As you can see, Daniel 1, 2, 3, and 4 follow in chronological order from 603 to 563, 2, 3, and 4, and we get the impression they all happen pretty quickly. It took 40 years for Daniel 1 to 4 to take place. Did you realize that? 40 years. Nebuchadnezzar was in power for 43 years. We then see, if you go down, Daniel 7 and Daniel 8 actually come before Daniel 5. And so we insert here, we're going back, actually, a couple of years. We don't have, Daniel 5 was all about the writing on the wall. Daniel 6, the lion's den, none of that's happened. We're going back a few years. And you'll notice before there, 4 kings, so we're in Belshazzar's reign, 4 kings, not even mentioned by Daniel, 21, 22 years of silence from God. He hasn't spoken to the exiles in over 20 years. But when he speaks Daniel 7, and what a chapter. Of all the chapters, this one is going to be the most important, can I say, of the whole Old Testament. All right, let's get into it. If you have got a Bible, it's a brown Bible in front of you. I'll give you the page number. I want you to turn there. You need to follow it with me because we haven't read it out already. 765, page 765. Come to page 765 with me, and we will look at the dream that Daniel has in chapter 7. Daniel 7, verse 1, I'm going to read it, page 765. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream, and visions passed through his mind as he was laying in bed. He wrote the substance of his dream. Daniel said, in my vision at night I looked, and there before me were 4 winds of heaven churning up a great sea. 4 beasts, great beasts, each of different from the others, came out of the sea. The first was like a lion, and it had wings of an eagle. I watched until its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground so that it stood on its 2 feet like a human being, and had the mind of a human, and the mind of the human was given to it. And there before me was a second beast, which looked like a bear. It was raised up on one side with its on its sides, and had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. It was told, get up and eat, and fill your fill of flesh. After that I looked, and there before me was another beast, one that looked like a leopard, and on its back it had 4 wings like those of a bird. The beast had 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule. After that, in my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was a 4th beast, terrifying and frightening and very powerful. It had a large iron teeth. It crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. It was different from the former beasts, and it had 10 horns. While I was thinking about the horns, there was before me another horn, a little one, which came up among them, and 3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. This horn had eyes like the eyes of a human being, and a mouth that spoke boastfully. The dream is fairly simple, but very, very scary. Have you ever woken up at night and you've had a dream and it's been so scary, so frightening that your heart's going? Have you had that? And you wake up and you go, was that real? Or do you know what I'm talking about? Have you had a dream or a nightmare like that before? This is the kind of dream that Daniel had. Because if you have a look at the very last verse of Daniel 7, this is what he says. This is the end of the matter. I, Daniel, was deeply troubled by my thoughts, and my face turned pale, but I kept the matter to myself. Daniel wakes up, he is deeply troubled. In our language, he would be terrified, so much so that he had turned pale. The blood had drained from his face. You get the idea. Here is a very vivid nightmare. So back to the dream itself. There were 4 beasts that came out of the sea, which has been churning. The first was like a lion, but it had wings and stood like a man. The second, actually I've got the wrong way around. The second was like a bear with 3 ribs in its mouth. The third was a leopard who had 4 heads. And the fourth was different, but had teeth like iron and 10 horns. Finally, there is another little horn, and it rises up and displaces 3 of the other horns. That is the dream as Daniel remembered it. But this time, Daniel wakes up going, I have not got the foggiest what this is about. I have no idea. And so we're told he has to go and ask somebody. And so he does. And they give him the interpretation. Come down to me to verse 16. I approached one of those standing there and asked him the meaning of all this. So he told me and gave me the interpretation of these things. The 4 great beasts are 4 kings that will arise from the earth. Now, the next 4 kings, or the kingdoms that come after Babylon, if you're going to look at it, are these. You first have Media with the Persians, and after them comes Greece, and then finally Rome. They are the next 4, if you wish to put it like that. I'll come back to that. I'll just leave that hanging in the air. Daniel isn't much interested in the first 3 beasts or the first 3 kings or the first 3 kingdoms. His attention is focused on the most terrifying beast of all the 4. And so let's pick up the interpretation of this last beast in verse 23. The same bloke gave him this explanation. The 4th beast is a 4th kingdom that will appear on earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms and will devour the whole earth, trampling it down and crushing it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will come from this kingdom. After them, another king will arise different from the earlier ones. He will subdue 3 kings, but he will speak against the Most High and oppress his holy people and try to change the set times and the laws. The holy people will be delivered into his hands for time, times, and half a time. This 4th beast, or this 4th king, or this 4th kingdom is different from all the others because they will speak against God Most High and attack his people. They'll speak against God Most High, and this one will attack God's people. And because of that, all of us want to know, which is this kingdom? Which is the one I've got to be wary about? Which is the one that is so terrifying? Are we in that kingdom now? And so people have come up with all sorts of ideas. Again, are the next 4 kingdoms the one, is it Media and Persia together, and then Greece, and then Rome, and then maybe England or Spain or Russia or the US? They come up with all these things. Other people say, no, don't concentrate on the kingdoms, concentrate on the kings. And so they say the next 4 kings, well, maybe they should be something like this. Napoleon, or Hitler, or Stalin, or Pol Pot, or Saddam Hussein, or Idi Amin, Osama bin Laden. And they come up with all these names that these beasts could be. It doesn't much matter. Why? Because I've left something out of this dream. I've left out verse 9. Did you notice that I just skipped over verse 9? Let me read it for you. As I looked, thrones were set in place, And the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was as white as snow. The hair of his head was white like wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and its wheels were all ablaze. A river of fire was flowing, coming down out from before him. Thousands upon thousands attended him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The court was seated, and the books were open. Then I continued to watch, because the boastful words of the horn were speaking. I kept looking until the beast was slain and its body destroyed and thrown into the blazing fire. The other beasts had been stripped of their authority, but were allowed to live for a period of time. Flip down to verse 17. The four great beasts are the four kings that will rise from the earth, but the holy people of the Most High will receive the kingdom and will possess it forever and ever. Yes, forever and ever. Again, flip down to verse 26. But the court will sit, and the fourth beast's power, will be taken away and completely destroyed forever. Then sovereignty, power, and greatness of all kingdoms under heaven will be handed to the holy people of the Most High. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all rulers will worship and obey him. I want you to imagine the scene. Okay? Have this image in your head. Just think with me for a moment. We have got a churning sea of great chaos and disorder. And out of the sea comes one beast, second beast, third beast, fourth beast, then 10 horns, then one comes up, 3 fall down. And so what we've got is mayhem and destruction, and one kingdom after another coming and coming and coming, and the world seems in chaos. And all of a sudden, we hear about the Ancient of Days, which is another way of talking about God. And very quietly and very calmly, thrones are put in place. Chaos everywhere else, thrones are put in place. Books are laid out, and then the court is seated. Who knows whether it's like that, doesn't matter. And 10,000 times 10,000, you're not supposed to work out whether it's 10 million or not. So many people you can't even count stand before the throne of God. And the court is seated. The first 3 beasts have their authority stripped from them, and the fourth beast ends up in the lake of fire, destroyed forever. In other words, it does not matter which kingdom or which country or which dynasty or which organization or which business or any grouping of human beings that stand opposed to God and want to attack God's people, all of them will come to nothing. Every power, every authority on this planet who defies the living God and attacks God's people will end up in the lake of fire. The judgment will be final. The penalty will be forever. And so it does not matter, does it, that the beast, the fourth beast in particular, whether it's Persia or Greece or Rome, or does it refer to England or Russia or the United States, on that last day, every country, every authority, everything that stands tall and proud, especially against God, they'll have everything stripped of them. There'll be only one kingdom, and it will be of the Most High and his holy people, and it will endure forever. See verse 18, but the holy people of the Most High will receive the kingdom and will possess it forever. Yes, forever and ever. All that vision says one thing. You brothers and sisters are on the winning side. On that last and great day, no matter what churning happens here on earth, no matter what happens, how bad it might get, you're on the winning side. So here's some implications for us this morning. Are you in a job and you have a miserable boss? It is only temporary. It is only temporary. Are you exploited by somebody in one of your relationships? It is only temporary. It will not last. If people attack you for your faith, there is this picture of the judgment day and the books are opened. If you're experiencing any sort of difficulty, especially for your faith, every probability that it will not last. Now we know that because kingdoms come and kingdoms go. People in power come, people in power go. If I was to ask Tim here how many of his managers last in a role, probably 4 or 5 years at most before they move on to something else. He can tell me if I've got it wrong, but they're only for a time and then it's gone. If you're in one of those relationships or a job, it's okay to move. In fact, one person in my family, we cancelled. You need to get out of that job. It's doing your head in. Get a new job. And he's got a new job and he's a very happy man now, very happy. Don't remain if you can. Get out. What about for those of us who are on the other end? We're actually climbed the rungs of the corporate ladder, or we own our own business, or we have authority over people. Your authority will not last either. It's here for a time, and then it is gone. Isn't that true? You believe that? It's here for a time, and even if you own your own business, well, when you retire, it's gone anyway. You need to ask the question, how can I use my position, my power, my authority, my position to do good for others? And ask this question, how can I use it for the good of the gospel? While you have it, because it will not last, what can you do? Daniel is the great example for those in power. Notice how he used his position for the salvation of the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. Not only that, he rose to the third highest, or even the second highest in all of Babylon, and used his wisdom, his intellect, everything God had given him for the good of Babylon, and therefore the good of everybody underneath. Life is too short to just live for yourself. Whatever positional power you're in, use it for the good of others. Use it for the good of the gospel. And life is too short to be exploited and go and be exploited by someone. So if you need to, move jobs, move the relationship, no longer hang out with those people, and so on. All right. I've dealt with the vision except for the two most important verses in the whole vision. I'm going to get you to stand and stretch. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, 1 minute, before I'm going to tackle this last and the most important verses in all of chapter 7. So please do that for a moment. Please stand and stretch so you have a moment. All right. It's not a big break. I just want you to sit back down. Now you've had a stretch. We come to the moment that I wanted to preach. The most two important verses in the entire Old Testament. Are you with me? All right, Daniel chapter 7. Let's read them, verses 13 and 14. In my vision at night I looked, and there before me was one like the Son of Man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence. He was given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All nations and peoples of every language worshipped him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. So in the dream, there's a dream within the dream, so to speak. We've got this figure like the Son of Man. Now, the term Son of Man simply means the figure, and you'll have a little, I think in your Bibles, a little footnote, the son of a man or the son of a human, and therefore he is saying this figure, this mysterious figure that floats on the clouds to the Ancient of Days is a human being. Is a human being. He's the son of a man, another human being. Now we already know that Jesus refers to himself as the Son of Man. It was his nickname. It was the way he referred to himself. Most people think he's simply saying, I'm a human, or if in the Australian vernacular, I'm a bloke. I'm a bloke. If I was to put this on the screen, Albo, who am I talking about? The Prime Minister of Australia, aren't we not? Albo is short for Albanese, Anthony Albanese. I'll give you another one. A friend of mine's called Baz. He's another minister. He's up at West Pymble, and he's the minister there. I heard the former archbishops referring to him as Baz when he was talking about the rector, the senior minister of West Pymble. And why do we use nicknames like this? Because in one word, you get all this meaning imported into your nickname. Has anybody here got a nickname? Anybody? Yes, there's a couple. All right. Your nickname means something. All right, let me move on. Today in our Bible readings, Jesus fills out what it means to be the Son of Man. It is far more than a nickname. For in Mark 2, as we read, the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins. He has authority. In the end of Mark 2, which we didn't read, for the Son of Man is Lord, boss, even of the Sabbath. Going on a bit further, Mark 8, if anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his Father's glory with the holy angels. He has glory. And so, on one hand, what we're saying here is this concept of the Son of Man is filled with power, authority. It's filled with the concept of ruling and might and glory. But Jesus wants to fill it with something else. For our second Bible reading said this, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and what? And give his life. Give it up as a ransom for many. And then from Mark chapter 9, as they were coming down the mountain after they'd seen Jesus gave them orders not to tell anybody what they'd seen until the Son of Man had risen from the dead. The Son of Man must die and then rise again. And so as the Son of Man, Jesus is explaining that he has the power, he has the authority of all of heaven. All of heaven. But he will use that power and authority in order to serve people by dying for them on the cross as a ransom for sin. But on the third day, after Jesus dies, Jesus rises from the dead, and then he ascends on the clouds. I wonder whether you know where he might be going now. Because as he walks on the clouds as though it's a hovercraft, he goes to where? The Ancient of Days. And as he comes to the Ancient of Days, at that moment his Father crowns him with power and authority. He's given a kingdom that will not pass away. He's given a kingdom that will not be destroyed. As the one that was risen from the dead, he says this last thing before he goes back to heaven. He says this to his disciples: all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Why? Because he is the Son of Man. And then just before he was about to be crucified, he's speaking with the high priest, and he says this, or the high priest asks Jesus, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of God, the Son of the Blessed One?" Jesus says, "I am," he said. "And you will see who? The Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One." And what? Coming on the clouds of heaven. Jesus is the Son of Man. It's much more than a nickname. It's more than a term of endearment. It's not just a cryptic way of saying, I'm a human, I'm a bloke. Jesus uses this name to say that he is Lord over all. He has the authority over nations. He has the authority over kings, over prime ministers, over presidents. He has the authority over every nation, over every people, over every language, over every culture, over everything in all creation. It means he has the authority over every single person who has lived before this time, going back to the beginning of time. He has authority over every single person from this day going forward for generations and years and millennia to come. And it means he has authority over you and me right here and right now. Therefore, on that last great day, when Jesus rips back the sky, quite literally rips back the sky and comes with his holy angels into our history now, we are told that every knee will bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. For some, that day will come with terror. It will be a nightmare. In fact, the book of Revelation says they will want whole mountains to fall on them to hide them from the Son of Man, from Jesus as he comes in his glory. They know they have rejected him. They have ignored him all their life, and now he comes. It's going to be a horrible, horrible day for them. For others, hopefully you, brothers and sisters, that willingly bow the knee and joyfully confess Jesus Christ is Lord, that he is the triumphant Son of Man, that he is worthy of all power and glory, that he is worthy of our praise, that he is worthy of our worship, that he is worthy of our allegiance, that he is worthy of our loyalty, our devotion, and our faithfulness, that he is the King of Kings, that he is the Lord of Lords. There is no one like this Jesus, the Son of Man. Nobody like Jesus. How come that's not working? There is no one like this. Are there two more important verses in all the Old Testament than Daniel 7, 13 and 14, where the Son of Man comes to God and God gives him authority over everything? Is there more important verses in the entire Old Testament? You come and talk to me if you think there is. What side will you be on the last day? It will depend on how you treat Jesus now. Will he be your friend or foe? Will he dwell in your heart? Will he captivate your thought? Will he pervade every aspect of your life? Friends, there are three types of people here today, and the band's going to come up. Ignore them. Ignore them. There are three types of people here today. There are some people who have never bowed their knee to the Lord Jesus. And I ask you, I say to you, what are you waiting for? Jesus could appear any time and then it'll be too late. There's a second group of people here today who made a confession. Jesus is Lord, but the things of this world, the kids, the sport, the work, the pleasures of life, all paid. Maybe it's the suffering and the pain and the issues of life have meant that while you were there one time, you were slowly drifted here. I say to you, what are you waiting for to come back to Jesus? Jesus could come back any time and it'll be too late. One final group. Those who have confessed that Jesus is Lord and have a true and genuine faith and an active faith that lives it out right now. I say to you, look to the heavens and keep your eye on the Son of Man, on Jesus. Keep your eyes on Jesus, for that day will not be too far away.